Before we start the show, let's do a real one roll call here. A couple of months ago, we had one person comment on a video 48 times. Can a real one beat it? If you do, we'll give you a shout out here on 76ers Now. And with that, let's start the show. All right, here we go. This is Philadelphia 76ers Now by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Sr. Thanks for hopping on board and joining the show. Something interesting to keep an eye on for the Philadelphia 76ers if they fail to make it past the second round, even the first round, depending on what that matchup is that the head coach of the Toronto Raptors, Nick Nurse, could be an option for the Sixers if they do decide to move on from Doc Rivers. And you think about it, right? Is there a better coach in the NBA than Nick Nurse? Now, with that, there would be a lot of competition. But with Joel Embiid playing at an all-time level, unstoppable basketball right now, hopefully en route to his first MVP award. Steph Curry thinks that he should win it. We'll get to that later on today's show. There's going to be a lot of competition for his services. But is there a better option out there than the Philadelphia 76ers if they either retain James Harden or bring in another star? You have the emerging Tyrese Maxey with Joel Embiid, major media market, historic franchise, then Philadelphia for Nick Nurse. Now, he left the door open about his future here. Here's what he had to say recently. I think when this season gets done, we'll evaluate everything, and even personally, I'm going to take a few weeks to see where I'm at, see where my head's at, and just see all of the relationships with the organization. That's everything. I think that I'm concentrated on this job for sure, and this game essentially, but I think that 10 years is a good time to sit back and reflect a little bit, so I think that's what we're going to do when the season ends. You look at Nurse's resume. The fact that he won an NBA championship with the Toronto Raptors in his first season in 2019, really impressive. They traded for Kawhi Leonard. They finally got over the hump. Kawhi was great. NBA Finals MVP, of course, that season. It's the quadruple bounce against Philadelphia. His ability to make adjustments throughout a playoff series, really impressive. For instance, last year in the playoffs, obviously Philadelphia, the far superior team, the much more talented team than the Toronto Raptors. Yet, that series still went 6 games, even after that Joel Embiid buzzer beater, because of the adjustments from Nick Nurse. I think X's and O's wise, it's Nick Nurse, it's Erik Spoelstra as the top 2 coaches in the NBA. He was the coach of the year in 2020, head coach of the Canadian national team. He has the chops. He has the pedigree to lead the Sixers. And Daryl Morey, I'm still waiting for him to do something special in winning a championship, in helping elevate this team past the second round. And Nick Nurse might be a guy, if Morey doesn't decide to duck out like he did on the Houston Rockets, that could really help Philadelphia as far as coaching goes, because we know Doc Rivers certainly has some shortcomings when it comes to making the adjustments that a Nick Nurse or an Erik Spoelstra makes throughout the course of a playoff series. My problems with Doc here, I think he's flat out overrated. He's making $8.5 million per year reportedly. That's a lot of cheddar for a guy who hasn't turned in a lot of results. We know about the blown leads in game in a playoff series. Has not won a title now in 15 years. No accountability, got to look in the mirror. But sometimes he doesn't take that accountability. And sometimes, honestly, he treats the media like shit. I understand that the media in Philadelphia can be a little bit overbearing and overreactory, right? But for Doc Rivers, come on, man. Sometimes he lashes out at these reporters when they're just trying to ask a simple question. Here's the bottom line here for me. If the Sixers don't make it to the conference finals this year, it's time to move on from Doc. You've had opportunities over the last couple of years. I will never get over that loss in the series to the Atlanta Hawks. Last year, should have beat the Miami Heat. You're a far better team. And this year, absolutely no excuses. Unfortunately for Philadelphia, depending on how the playoffs and the seeding really does play out, if they go up against the Boston Celtics in the second round, zero confidence at all that the Sixers are going to win that series. So, with that, today's poll question is this: who's the better coach between Nurse and Doc? Type N for Nick Nurse, are for Doc Rivers? Let me know down in the comment section. And as you venture down there, to all the Philly Bulls out there, make sure you subscribe to the best Sixers coverage on YouTube. Just a programming reminder, I'm going to Key West starting on Friday. Going to be tough, obviously, to do a bunch of videos, but hey, we'll do our best here on 76ers Now. Just want to let you know. Steph Curry backing Joel Embiid in this really, really tight NBA MVP race between Embiid as well as Nikola Jokic. Steph Curry told Chris Haynes that he would vote for Joel Embiid to win the award that he's finished runner-up in the last 2 seasons. Hopefully it's not runner-up once again. Here's what Steph had to say to Chris Haynes. Any person you pick, their body of work could be compared to Jokic or Giannis, but Joel took a leap that I think a lot of people did not expect because he was dominant already. That leap turned heads and put Philly in a great position. If I had to pick, it would be Joel Embiid. And that's my pick. Look, I understand that I grew up in the Philly area. I've rooted on this basketball team through thick and thin, through heartbreak and great times, even though there's been few great times watching this basketball team play. But for Joel Embiid, yeah, maybe Jokic should have won 2 years ago. I thought last year Embiid was the more valuable player. And this year, on both ends of the floor, I think he's the better player. I think he's the more impactful player. And anytime, in my opinion, that you have to turn to these nerdy-ass analytical stats, kind of tells me that you're really reaching as far as the MVP argument. We'll take a look at Embiid's numbers this season coming up around the corner. But first, why don't you get a Joel Embiid jersey, hopefully to celebrate him bringing back that MVP award. And for him, it would mean so much to him putting that on his mantle in what has been a Hall of Fame career. Embiid City jerseys, brotherly love, feeling it. Chatsports.com/76city. Embiid's numbers this year. I mean, this is just unbelievable. And it's uncomparable as to what he does on the defensive end as compared to Jokic. And everybody wants to say, Embiid, he's not in shape all that much. He misses a lot of games. You can't say that this year. You cannot say that this year. He's played a lot, more so than previous seasons. He's played a ton of minutes as well. And Embiid, I just believe, has his fingerprints on the game a little bit more so than Jokic. Like, I don't care about a big passing. It's a cool trait, but I care about points, rebounds, defending the rim, putting the team on your back. And Embiid has been able to do that en route to averaging 33 points per game, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, nearly 2 blocks per night, and the field goal percentage, very, very good. And I think Steph Curry makes a really good argument as you take a look at the most recent MVP odds. By the way, Giannis is lurking too. Let me say that. Is that what Steph Curry said about Embiid going from great to greater? Like, it's really hard to take that step, right? Of already being in the upper pantheon of all players in the NBA, and then you find a way to dig deep and get even better. Embiid right now the favorite, -215. But I have a feeling that these nerdy sports writers are going to vote Jokic as the MVP. He's at +250, and then Giannis at +650. Look, there's a clear Philadelphia bias, or a negative bias against Philadelphia, I should say. Joel Embiid deserves the award. Give the man his flowers. Give the man his dues. He certainly deserves it. What do you think? Will Embiid win NBA MVP? Give me a Y for yes, or give me an N for no. Chime in down below in the comment section. Do not forget to subscribe. I understand I'm going to Key West at the start of the NBA playoffs, but once they get in full swing, I'm hoping to do some watch parties, potentially main Chat Sports YouTube channel, maybe simulcast it here on 76ers Now as well.